listeners, Jem in Wakefield and Mitch in Glasgow. Yes, 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 Minster.
Oh, come on. Yes, that's excellent. That's tremendous work.
And House of Horminster. Which is possibly a little weaker, but I still like it.
The House of Horminster.
Live in Glasgow.
Well hung Parliament, surely.
General erections,
Good.
obviously.
Excellent, perfect.
And one I'd come up with, probably relating to the Treasury, quantitative sleazing.
Quantitative sleazing.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, it's topical.
It's very,
difficult to
it's
say.
so topical that it's too topical.
You'd have to rush that film out pretty.
You'd have to really get that one done by the end of this week. Not that difficult.
No.
We could get that organised now. Harry, go get the camera from my car. Sammy, pop your clothes off. We'll try and get it done during this version of I Think We're Alone Now by the Spinto Band. The Spinto Band doing their version of I Think We're Alone Now. Steve Show, Six Music with me, Steve Merchant. Am I the only one in the room who's actually been on the set of a porno movie?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. No,
I've been in
Go on,
house
careful.
where a lot of porn films are made.
You've been in a house where porn movies... Right.
Yes.
Not what it
I've
wasn't
been
going
in a
on.
filthy hot tub. When I was filming for Casualty,
Right.
we were in the house of probably Britain's #1, Kathy Barry, who was from Bristol.
I don't know these names. Should I, is she a top draw?
I think so. I'm not quite sure, but she had magnificent bosoms.
Sure,
And
well,
there were
I'd
pictures
expect
of her
that.
nude all over her house, and she had 2 young sons. But I've been in the house, but there was no porn being made, just Casualty.
I thought you were going to name, I believe he's still at the top of the tree, Bend Over. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Ben, it's clear I only had me VAT to do that week, so I was able to fit that in. And, zipped over there, and it was for a programme on Sky One called Porn Crackers. Which you can see, you know, that kept us laughing for days. So I had to go over there and chat to some of these types. Interviewed Ron Jeremy, obviously. Interviewed a very sweet lady called Devon. And I made some amusing remark about, when I was younger, I spent a lot of time in Devon. I imagine there's lots of guys around here who can say the same. I'll be honest with you, he went over her head. He went over her head. She wasn't really biting.
Does Devon know how they make it so creamy?
Oh, come on, Samuel. And so the weirdest thing was I went to the set of a movie, and we were supposed to be interviewing this woman, and the guy was trying to interview her, and he was trying to wire up the microphone, and he said, would you just kind of feed that up your dress and just clip it on your bra? And she went, I'm not wearing a bra, I'm not wearing any underwear. And her manager let over and went, if you'd wanted her to wear underwear, you should have let us know. he was so riled. The idea that you would presume... I might presume someone was wearing underwear, but it's quite strange when you're in a room and 2 people are.
Yeah, very odd.
I tell you what, I'll play another tune and then I'll remind. We went into one house which was you thought yours was interesting. We went to a house where it was wired up. Every room had cameras in it, and they used to broadcast every night. And it was extraordinary because she was a porn star and he was a former NASA scientist. That was quite a dynamic.
BBC.
Who's chilling around the land, you know?
Title track from the debut album by Souls of Mischief, that's 93 Till Infinity from 1993. We were talking about Jackie Smith's husband's indiscretions, and that led me on to reminding these guys here. Have I told you about that before, my excursion to America to interview porn stars?
I remember you being quite shaken up by it.
I was very disturbed. It's not as erotic as you might have hoped as a young lad. I was saying we went to this one house, and the whole house was wired up with cameras, and there's this woman, and she was an established porn star, and her husband was a former NASA scientist. I don't know how they'd met, to be honest. It was never clear what particular social occasion those two groups meet. Some kind of porno star come scientist mixer. But anyway, they were seemingly happily married. And she had a website, and people would log on, and her regular fans would pay money. And then every evening at a certain time, they would perform some kind of erotic adventure in one of the rooms in the house. And it was sort of web streamed, webcammed, direct into people's homes. And occasionally, friends would come by and just join in. And it seemed like she said she was very happy for us to interview her, but she didn't want us to do any sort of pieces to camera or any interviews outside of the house. She didn't want the neighbours knowing what was going on. Happy to have it beamed across the web, but didn't want Joan next door. So that's fair enough. So she was on the internet talking to her fans, and I was there, and I was sort of interviewing her. And suddenly this comment started coming through, like, who's this lanky guy there? Who's this goggle-eyed? It just started insulting me on the kind of blogs, on the web things. And I was thinking, and I grabbed the keyboard from her. I was furious. And I was trying to I'm actually here with the woman. You're the guy sat at home with your trousers around your ankles, for goodness sake. How am I the loser? I was so riled. Anyway, so then she had to go upstairs to her and her husband had to go and put on their show. So so he's filming her and she's up to business, and then he gives me the camera and he jumps on, right? And so I'm filming, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I ought to do a good job. I don't want to let these people down there pay money. So I was filming him, doing it, and then I remembered all these insults. And I thought, hang on, I'm in control here. It's revenge time for Steve. Oh, hang on. Yeah, there's some erotic mischief going on the bed. Hang on, what's this I'm focusing on? It's the sideboard. Yes. Oh, yes. Half an hour of sideboard action. They may have got the noises, but none of the visuals. Serves them right. You don't mess with Steve on the blogs. Yes, I will put an end to it now then, but I guess we've had a few more of those texts and emails.
There's been some good stuff. Debbie does Downing Street.
Yeah, okay.
There's lots that we can't read out, but we'll say a kind of special thank you to to Simon in the Wirral and to anonymous texter ending 81, who's possibly the greatest one I've read today. But I also enjoyed this one. I think this closes the book on it. Minister's husband caught living on handouts.
Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my little gang of cronies here. We are playing Blind Boys of Alabama, Way Down in the Hole, which, for fans of The Wire, you'll recognise as the theme music. And, of course, The Wire, which is an American TV show originally made for HBO, is being screened at long last on the BBC tomorrow. I think it's every night this week, and I think it starts at about 11, and it's on BBC Two tomorrow evening. And as I'm sure you've already seen, if you're a regular sort of, I don't know, an Observer or a Guardian reader, it's kind of endlessly being droned on about as one of the greatest TV shows ever made, and it is indeed that. But of course, I was very much there at the beginning, Harry, as you would well imagine, and I take pride in that. Obviously, you know, I see a lot of people have jumped on the bandwagon since. I mean, the original series I think came out in 2002, and only now is it being shown on BBC Two. So they're a bit slow to get their act together. Obviously, I've seen all 5 series, but I was thinking about it. It's the fact that there are certain things that I've experienced in my life where I do feel that sort of possessiveness. I was there at the beginning, and I guess my suspicion is that a lot of the 6 Music listeners, and particularly the people that go on the blogs or people who email in or run websites, they're the sort of people who take tremendous pride in saying the phrase "I was there at the beginning."
Yeah.
And of course, we all know that it's lovely to be. No one's interested. No, you're not gonna get beautiful ladies making sweet love because you happen to be there in the beginning. Okay, it doesn't make any difference. You can have all your ticket stubs from all the gigs you've ever been to, and no one's ever going to ask to see them. All right, no one's interested. It's just going to stop. You're just going to fill up a couple of cupboards and one day have to throw them out. And yet, nevertheless, some of us, we like to cling to that. I was there at the beginning, and there's a few TV shows that I've been there at the beginning. Not necessarily the things which I would be super proud of, but yeah, certainly I was there at the beginning of, 24, for instance. I was there at the beginning of Friends, I remember, predicting great things for that. And, but generally that's it. There's very little else in life where I've been there at the beginning, and it's gone on to greatness. I'm not a great sort of arbiter of what's going to catch the public imagination. You're the sort of nerd who loves talking about you being there at the beginning, aren't you, Harry?
Well, very much so. And obviously, we turn to music. The White Stripes.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't there exactly right at the start, but I bought the Hello Operator, the original picture disc 7-inch. You know, this is pretty early.
That's
stuff.
quite good. That's pretty good.
Now, can't bear to listen to them.
Really?
But of course, I was there at the start, which is the exciting
Well,
thing.
I was there at the beginning, of course, with Oasis. You may recall.
Yeah.
I was at university and got a couple of the first releases of the 12 inches they put out.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a few guys on my course. I said, let's go down with this band playing Oasis. They're going to be playing at Coventry Polytechnic, where you were studying.
Yep.
I said, let's nip down there. It should be good. They were not interested. They went down there. I'll tell you, by the end of the gig, they bought the T-shirts. They bought the whole thing, and it was a tremendous gig. I don't remember you managing to get in there, actually.
No, my flatmate at the time, who'd been at uni a year longer than me, said, no, you don't need to get advance tickets for the club nights at Cov. You just turn up and get in. Turned up, didn't get in.
Feel the burn.
Whereas you, the posh snobs from Warwick,
Exactly.
come over and had all me tickets.
Yeah, exactly, as we turned up in our top hats and our silver-topped canes. You, Mancunian lad, entertain me! Yeah, obviously they were tremendous, and now I don't think I could go and see them live. I'm sure it would be unbearable. But you know, there I was at the beginning. But Sammy, do you take pride in, is it very much a male thing, do you think, the pride of having been there at the beginning?
I don't think girls shout about it. I shout about it to boys. Maybe it is a male thing, but I
Yeah.
am very proud. The other thing I get is I'm very evangelical about the bands I like, particularly Gomez. But if I find out someone else likes them, I hate them a little bit.
Right.
If I go to a gig and there's other people there,
Yeah.
that really annoys me.
This is the other strange, perverse thing that comes with it, because people want the things they love to be giant and successful, so they can say I was there at the beginning. But when they are giant and successful, they hate it because they hate the fact that everyone else jumps on the bandwagon later. It's a very complicated emotional and psychological thing.
It's like, I know you don't like them as much as me, so how dare you like them at all?
Right, I see. Yeah, even though they may indeed love them more than you.
I doubt they do.
Yeah, it's like a lot of Cure fans, I imagine, furious when they ultimately turned up on Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And the fact that people, like, you know, like I said before, when I go to see the Cure in concert, sometimes it's nice in the 3 hours they're playing to hear at least one song I've heard. But it's not always the way. At least 3 times I've seen them now, and every time they've annoyed me and angered me to the point of genuine rage and hate. I don't want to hear a B-side, Robert. Not now, please. Just like heaven. But I thought what might be nice, what would be a great public service opportunity for us, is to allow the listeners. There's a lot of nerds out there, a lot of squares, who are going to and I suspect that they have never had it documented that they were there at the beginning.
They've always wanted someone to ask them. No one's ever asked
And
them.
no one's ever asked them. No one cares. Well, we care, all right? Because we're losers like you, all right? You can get in touch. Tell us what you were there at the beginning. Give us your name. Tell us you were there, and we will put it in the Big Steve Show archive of who was there at the beginning. And then it will be there. It will be documented. Or, perhaps even more exciting, if there's something that you're at the beginning of right now, and you think that in 6 months' time everyone's going to be talking about it, let us know. Tell us what you were at the beginning of, or what you're currently at the beginning of.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
So get in touch with us, and as I say, we'll put you in the big ledger. So, Sammy, talking of things you're there at the beginning of, what are you playing for us this week?
I'm playing for you something kind of linked to New York. I kind of feel like I was there at the beginning of New York.
Everyone does, I think, when they go.
Because I went there before everyone else on my uni did, so I kind of felt like, yeah, I know the crack. You weren't here, I was here. It might have only been 6 months ago, but I felt better than them. Anyway, this is...
I still show off about the fact that I went up the Twin Towers. I still, yeah, when I was in New York, of course, I went up the Twin Towers, knowing full well that no one can ever go up them again. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, I've won. I've won New York. Anyway.
Yes, there's going to be a big charity night in New York at Radio City Music Hall, and it's called Dark Was the Night. There've been 2 hours, that would have been brilliant. 2 years in the making of this album. This is one of the tracks off it, and it's The Books, featuring Jose Gonzalez.
Sammy's musical choice on this week's Steve Show. Explain yourself.
As Steve rightly pointed out, that was a cover of a Nick Drake song, the cello song, and that was The Books featuring Jose Gonzalez. This is an album that's going to come out in AIDS. That doesn't sound quite right. It's to raise
A
money.
celebration of AIDS. At long last. There's been so much negative press surrounding AIDS, but let's just look at the positives. All the get well cards.
So there's Feist, My Brightest Diamond, The National, Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, etc. And they're all going to be playing at Radio City Music Hall in New York.
If you are in New York, then obviously race along to that and celebrate AIDS. So yeah, we're talking about occasions where we were there at the beginning. There is something about, I think, the music fan that sort of brings this out of you, this pride in having, I don't know, read an article first about someone and then, or whatever, or stumbled across them. And you had an extraordinary one that wasn't quite music related, How, that you're still very proud of.
Yeah, well, when I was a youngster, down in Weymouth on holiday, Cadbury's were trialling the Whisper Bar first time round.
Okay, not when they brought it back.
No, so I mean I would have been maybe 6 or 7, and I must have had the 5th or 6th Whisper Bar in existence.
And what was your opinion in those days?
We thought it was going to be massive.
And how right you were.
And then, you know, they took it away, and then what happened? It's back again.
And you're saying
I was right.
Your mother still talks about this occasion.
Oh, she's she's very, very proud of the story.
Yeah, whenever she's in a newsagent, this happens.
I see you've got some Whisper Bars there. Did I ever tell you I was there at the start?
Oh, fantastic. A few people have got in touch already. We're going to try and compile some kind of archive so that you at home there don't need to go to your grave without anyone knowing that you were there at the beginning. I mean, my friend and I we used to go to gigs to try and see, you know, various big name artists before they passed away, as though one day someone in the future, a great-great-grandchild,